There's a quiet idea, written nearly 2,000 years ago by Marcus Aurelius, that most people today would rather ignore. It says this: you are not tired because life is hard. You are tired because you are trying to control what is not yours to control. That is the insight. The theory comes from Stoicism. Simple but severe division of life into two parts: what is within your control and what is not. And the strategy? Withdraw your energy completely from everything outside your control. Place it, without compromise, on what is yours alone: your actions, your thoughts, your character. Do this long enough, and something strange happens. You become difficult to manipulate. You become difficult to distract. And eventually, without asking for it, the world begins to listen. Heart, by the invisible drain. The old man would not raise his voice. He would simply ask, how much of your day is truly yours? Not the hours you spend working, not the time you spend scrolling, but the moments when your mind is not reacting, only choosing. Most people, if they are honest, would answer very little, because the modern world is designed with great precision. It pulls your attention outward, toward news, opinions, expectations, comparisons. It keeps you in a constant state of reaction. You wake up, and before you decide anything, something has already decided for you. A message, a notification. Do you worry about what someone thinks? This is not accidental. The ordinary person is not weak. They are surrounded. And this is where the Stoic begins differently, not with superiority, but with awareness. He does not blame himself for being distracted. He understands he is being trained to be. He also understands something more important. He can refuse. Hard-eye the division that changes everything. The Stoics did not offer many tools. They offered one that matters. He drew a line. On one side, your effort, your decisions, your attention, your values. On the other people's opinions, outcomes, timing, external events. Most people live as if there is no line. They try to manage both sides at once. This creates a quiet chaos. You would but worry about recognition. You spit, but worry about judgment. You try but worry about results. Energy is spent into directions, and so it is diluted. The Stoic does something that feels unnatural at first. He abandons half the game, not because it is easy, but because it is impossible. He accepts, fully, that outcomes are not his true command, that other people's minds are closed systems, that the world will not adjust itself to his preferences, and so, he simplifies his life, outwardly but internally. This is mine, that is not. Once the decision is made, he does not revisit it. And I add the efficiency of letting go. There is a kind of power that does not look like power. It is not loud. It does not convince. It does not chase. It simply refuses to waste energy. When you stop trying to control what you cannot, something unexpected happens. Your available strength increases. Not because you gain more, but because you stopped leaking it. Consider how much effort is spent on things like replaying conversations, predicting reactions, managing impressions, resisting reality. None of these produce results. They only produce fatigue. The Stoic sees this clearly, and so he withdraws, not from life, but from illusion. He still acts. He still works. He still speaks, but there is a difference. His actions are clean. They are not mixed with fear of outcome or need for approval. They are done because they are right to do. And this is where discipline begins to change its nature. It is no longer force. It becomes alignment. Hard I view why most people cannot do this. It would be comforting to believe that this is a matter of intelligence, that only the thoughtful or educated can live this way. But the truth is less flattering. It is not about intelligence. It is about discomfort. Because when you give up control over outcomes, you also give up a certain kind of comfort. The illusion that you are in charge of everything. And that illusion is deeply soothing. It allows you to believe that if things go wrong, it is because you did not try hard enough. That you can fix everything, if only you have pushed more. Letting go removes that story. It forces you to face uncertainty without protection. To act without guarantee. To care without control. This is why most people return quietly to old habits. Not because they do not understand, but because they do not want to feel exposed. The Stoic does not avoid this feeling. He becomes familiar with it. He understands that control was never truly his. And so, losing it is not a loss, it is a correction. Part V, the quiet discipline of focus. There's a sentence attributed to the old emperor. You have power over your mind, not outside events. It is often repeated, but rarely practiced, because practicing it requires a kind of discipline that is not visible. It is not waking up early. It is not working longer hours. It is choosing, again and again, where your attention goes. When someone criticizes you, the instinct is to react. When something fails, the instinct is to resist. When uncertainty appears, the instinct is to control. The Stoic interrupts this. He does not suppress emotion. He redirects attention. He asks quietly, what part of this is mine? And then he stays there. If the answer is my effort, my response, my next action, then he acts. If the answer is their opinion, the outcome, the past, then he lets it pass. This is not passive. It is selective. And over time, this selectiveness becomes strength. Part VIII, when the world stops controlling you. Something changes when you live this way long enough. It is not immediate. It is not dramatic. But it is real. You begin to notice that fewer things disturb you. Not because life became easier, but because you stopped negotiating with what cannot be changed. You stop needing constant reassurance. You stop reacting to every opinion. You stop measuring yourself against outcomes you cannot control. And this creates a kind of stability that is rare. People feel it. They may not understand it, but they recognize it. Because most are still caught in reaction. Still pulled in different directions. Still trying to manage everything at once. When they meet someone who is not, it stands out. Not as arrogance, but as clarity. And this is where influence begins. Not from speaking louder, but from being steady. Part VIII, why the world eventually listens. It is a quiet irony. The moment you stop trying to control how others see you, they begin to see you differently. The moment you stop chasing outcomes, your actions become more effective. The moment you withdraw from external control, your presence becomes harder to ignore. This is not a trick. It is a consequence. Because people trust what is consistent. They respect what is not easily shaken. And they follow what does not demand attention. The Stoic does not aim to be heard. He aims to be correct in his actions. And over time, his correctness accumulates. It builds a reputation that is not based on persuasion, but on reliability. And so, without effort, without strategy, the world begins to listen. Part VIII, the choice available today. The old man would not end with inspiration. He would end with a decision. Because this path is not hidden. It is not complex. It is not reserved for a few. It is available completely to anyone willing to practice it. Not tomorrow. Not when life becomes easier. But today. You can begin with something small. And next time you feel pulled by worry, by opinion, by your compose, ask one question. Is this within my control? If the answer is no, release it. Not perfectly. Not permanently. Deliberately. And then return your attention to what remains. Your next action. Your next word. Your next choice. This is how it starts. Not with mastery, but with separation. And if you continue, something will change. Not the world, but your relationship to it. And that is enough.